Welcome back, trainers, and in this video we're going to be going over Pokemon that you possibly want to try to lucky trade with when we do have this event down the line, in which you're going to be able to open up 40 gifts as well as hold 20. And as you can see on the screen here, this is a shiny Gible. At first I thought it was fake, but it has since been confirmed by Niantic that this is true, which is going to lead up to the fact that we're not going to have a community day for this. So that's just very odd. So for the egg shakeup that's starting right now, you can possibly find different Pokemon and eggs, including Gible in the 10 kilometer, in which it can be shiny as well in the wild. I haven't really found any videos other than spoofers, so I really can't show you that right now. But yes, shiny Gible is here. Absolutely insane, guys. Let's go. So starting this off with the water types, Kyogre is going to be one of those Pokemon that you want to possibly lucky trade. It's going to have a better move now, but as you can see, I have no TM, so I'm going to have to stick it out with Hydro Pump. Now I'm going to put a little bit of a warning on this. Legendary Pokemon will probably receive some sort of exclusive move in the future, making it so that yours that you currently do have are going to be lesser than what they are, so don't go crazy on those. And as you can see, the Swampert is going to be a budget. Seeing that we just had a community day, you might have a few high level ones that you can mirror trade with a lucky friend. And then you have Kingler, which is going to be the top water type DPS Pokemon, but very frail. And then you have Feraligatr, another budget possibly, and we did have that community day. Now going into the steel types, your number one option is going to be Metagross with Meteor Mash. Point, period. That is it. That thing is going to absolutely be throwing and blowing everything out of the water that is going to be steel types, because it is so superior. You also do have Dialga. You can run a double steel type moveset on that. That's going to be the second best steel type Pokemon, but like we just went over just recently, you don't want to go too crazy on legendary Pokemon if you don't have a ton of resources, because in the future they might just receive, their exclusive move. Specifically for Dialga, that's going to be Roar Time. That's going to probably be really insane. Then we have Excadrill here. It is going to be the third best steel type attacker, and it is going to be making another appearance on the list here. Now going into rock Pokemon, you're going to want to do Rampardos. Number one, I have myself a full team of 6, so I'm going to be looking good. Now followed up by that Community Day Tyranitar with Smackdown, and then Stone Edge. That is going to be another great rock type attacker. Is going to be way better. And then you have Rhyperior. I still think that this just might get a Community Day, so don't make too many of these, but it's pretty safe because it is readily available, so you don't really have too much to worry about. Then going into Psychic types, Mewtwo is going to be your number one lucky trade that you're going to be wanting to do. Regarding Psychic types, it's also going to be a fantastic Ice type attacker as well as Ghost type attacker with Ice Beam and then with Shadow Ball, so it's going to be a great option to invest in. And then you have Latios, which is going to be your second best Psychic type attacker if you want to go ahead and do that. Then you have Metagross in that number 3 spot with Zen Headbutt and Psychic, your third best. Now it's going to be expensive to purchase a secondary move if you don't have, one that you didn't evolve for the Meteor Mash. You're going to have to purchase that secondary move, but it is going to be a good typing to kind of duel off of each other and pick which one you want to go with. And then of course the budget here, we have Espeon, which is going to be great with Psychic as well. Moving on to one of my favorite typings, and that is going to be Poison. So we have Roserade in that number 1 spot with Poison Jab and Sludge Bomb. This one's also going to be a fantastic Pokemon to lucky trade because it is also going to be the number 1 grass type attacker as well, followed up by, we'll see here in just a moment, but Roserade, absolutely great. Have a full team of those. I just have no TMs. And then Gengar is going to be your second best poison type attacker. Unfortunately, it does not have a poison quick move, but since it did get Shadow Claw, that's going to be working great for you. And then hitting it up with Sludge Bomb is going to be fantastic. If you have Lick on there, that Legacy, that is also going to be working great. But when it comes down to poison types, there's really not too much as far as high DPS going up against gyms and raids. You have Roserade, you have Gengar, and then you also have Toxic with Poison Jab and Sludge Bomb, another good option here. So unfortunately for the Toxic family, there's not really going to be that many. Moving on to the next, we have Ice. Mamoswine is going to be your number 1 Ice type. You may want to do a couple lucky trades for these because it is going to be performing fantastic with Powder Snow and Avalanche. Moving on to the next one, we do have Glaceon with Frost Breath and Avalanche, another great Ice type Pokemon. And you're going to be able to get Last Resort coming this December. Little mini events that we have going on here, in which the glacial lures are going to be lasting 2 hours, and you're going to be able to get Last Resort if you were not able to get one for Community Day. And then your third best Ice type attacker is going to be Weavile with Ice Shards and Avalanche. I do have myself 100 as well as another 100 Sneasel that I simply need to evolve, and a couple of shinies. But this one here is going to take a ton of Stardust, so we'll hold off on that for now. Then next for the ground type, number 1 is going to be Excadrill with Mud Slap and Drill Run here. You may want to do some lucky trades. It's not going to have the best TDO, but it is going to be putting off a ton of damage. And then Garchomp. Now we have shiny Garchomp. What's going on? So no community day, guys? What, Niantic, what happened? It wasn't an accident. They literally came out and they said, yep, this is intentional. If they retract it and I don't get myself a shiny Gible and all those spoofers get one, I'm going to be annoyed. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's here to stay. So Garchomp is also going to be great, but I urge you, well, you can make as many as you want because there's no community day. Right, followed up by Groudon being your 3rd best ground type attacker. So pretty crazy how they just sprung on that shiny. I feel like it's a money grab here. Hatch as many eggs so you can get a shiny, you know? Yeah. All right, moving on to grass types. Number 1 is going to be Roserade. Like I said, I have a full team of these. These things are absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a little bit expensive for that secondary move, but once you've done that, you can fluctuate between the poison and the grass typing. And then we have Sceptile. This is going to be your number 3 best grass type attacker. Number 2 is actually going to be Tangrowth with Power Whip, a new move that was just introduced. But Sceptile is also going to be great. So we had Community Day. You probably have a whole bunch with Frenzy Plant lying around. So this one, yes, is going to be your 2nd best. You may want to start lucky trading Tangela, so you can get yourself the 2nd best grass type attacker, which is this, just on the rise, but Roserade is still going to be better, so you may want to invest in those honestly, right? So you could if you had a couple of good Tangelas. And then my personal favorite, Venusaur, coming in at that number 3, number 4-ish spot, another Community Day Pokemon. Now moving into ghost types, you cannot trade Darkrai, but I just want to tell you it is going to be the best ghost type attacker. Makes no sense. I know it's dark, but it has Shadow Ball. Anything that's weak to dark is weak to ghost. So Darkrai is your best, technically, ghost type user. All right. And then, so number 1 tanky option is going to be Giratina, Shadow Claw, and Shadow Ball. Another Pokemon you may want to think about trading for. A legendary may be a little bit expensive on that candy end. Of course, you do have Mewtwo with Shadow Ball. That is going to be a fantastic. It is going to be Legacy. You cannot TM into it if you were able to get yourself one during the last EX raid cycle. So yet again, Mewtwo showing up, another one of these great types. And then you have Chandelure, which is going to be showing up yet again. This is going to be a fantastic ghost type attacker, very glassy, but it's going to be able to survive a little bit longer than Gengar. But at the end of the day, Gengar with Shadow Claw, which you can now TM into for its quick move, is going to be your best ghost type attacker as far as DPS is concerned. Moving into our next type, we have Flying. In your number 1 spot, that's going to be Moltres with Sky Attack. Now, you are only going to be able to get this during that 3-hour raid period. So if you have one of those, you have something pretty good here. Number 1 flying type attacker, as well as a fantastic fire attacker will be showing up yet again. Number 2 flyer is going to be Rayquaza here. So you're going to have TMs. Unfortunately, I have no TMs, so I'm going to have to just go into these raids as is. So no changing moves for me, because when I do get the TMs, well, they just bounce back and forth, and I never get the move I want. We're going to start a rant if we go down that road. Number 3 is going to be Honchkrow coming into that flying spot here. So it's going to be a decent Pokemon to use, a bit glassy, but also putting off a ton of damage. Then you have Zapdos, but let me recommend something to you. Another raid hour, or raid day, you can say, move. It's going to be Thunder Shock, but then with Drill Peck as well. Thunder Shock is going to enable you to get off those charge moves a lot faster. So if you have one of those, you may want to invest. Moving into the fires, we have Chandelure coming in at that number 1 fire type attacker spot, and I do have 2 moves purchases on that first Chandelure, so I can simply fluctuate the quick move and pick whatever a type I want there, because I don't want to continue to waste more and more TMs. I'd rather just spend that 75,000. Number 2 is going to be Moltres, Fire Spin, and Overheat. Yet again, coming in at that number 2 spot. It was previously at number 1. So this is definitely something you may want to invest in, seeing that it is great from both those typings. If you do have that Sky Attack, purchase that secondary move. And then we have number 3, Entei here, Fire Fang and Overheat. I've only powered up one of these. I just haven't felt the need to make more. It is a bit of a tanky option, so it is putting off good damage as well. And then you have that Community Day Blaziken, which can also be fantastic. Maybe you caught one at a high CP, your friend did too, and you're not going to have to invest too much candies. Now moving into the fighters, this is where I wanted to show you guys my little collection that I have going on here with Lucario. This is going to be your number 1 fighter by far, thanks to its new move, Aura Sphere. Now I have one little problem, and that is going to be no TMs. I tried TMing a couple of them that were I evolved into Lucario, but I could not get the move. Check it out. This one even has 2 moves purchased. I still couldn't get it. Wasted TMs. Couldn't get it on this one. Well, that one is from PvP, but the other ones, unfortunately, not. But Lucario with counter and Aura Sphere, #1 fighter. If you have those candies, they're close to being maxed out. They're lucky. Machamp is also going to be fantastic. I know it's going to be hard to get your hands on those Riolu candies, so Machamp is obviously going to be great. Breloom is going to be in that #3 spot. Counter and Dynamic Punch. Very frail, but putting off a ton of damage. We've been over this many times before. And then moving down to the final one, we have Hariyama, a tanky option, a solid option, and a decent one. Don't really want to power up 6, but it's still going to be good if you have one of those at a high level. Going into the fairy types. So my personal #1 pick for lucky trades, this is just me, I think it's going to be Togekiss as a pure fairy type attacker. It's going to be a little bit behind as far as DPS to compare to Gardevoir, but it's going to be a lot tankier as well as resisting fighting all the same as fairy and psychic type. But then Gardevoir is also going to be great, doing a little bit more damage, but a little bit glacier. And then moving way down the list, you're better off investing in those first 2, Togekiss and Gardevoir. You have Gramble as well. Not going to be, the best option around there, but, that's going to be the next one on the list regarding pure fairy type attackers. And then you have Clefable. There's other Pokemon, but they're not even of the typing for that, so we're just going to skip it. Moving into the electric types, #1 currently, and keep in mind we're going to have killer legendaries down the line, so don't invest too much, is going to be Raikou, that #1 electric type attacker. #2 is going to be arguably Electivire or Magnezone. Both of them are going to be great. I'm going to say Electivire is going to be #2 and then Magnezone #3. And then you also have Zapdos on the list as well. Not too sure why I did not record my Electivire, but you definitely want to go with that one if you do have those lying around. Make sure you purchase that secondary move as a baby. Otherwise, it's going to be costing you a whole lot more when you do evolve it up. And then if you have that Luxray, if you have one of those shiny, that actually is going to be a decent performing electric type. And then you have the Dragons, Rayquaza #1, Dialga is going to be #2, and they're going to be expensive, all right? But we're going to go over a few budgets here because there's a lot of Dragon to go around here. You also have Salamence, which is going to be fantastic with that Outrage Community Day move with Dragon Tail. Another one of those budget Pokemon, seeing we just had Community Day. You probably caught quite a few. Your friends have an Outrage, so you'll be able to, trade those, and there's plenty to go around, I would think. And then you have Palkia here, another good one. Personally, I haven't invested in it because, yes, it's a 100, but we're going to get new ones with their new moves in the future and with the shiny. And then I'm going to have a bunch of these invested Pokemon that I necessarily don't really need. And then Garchomp yet again coming up as a good dragon type attacker as well as ground type. And now with that beautiful shiny, I can't believe it's actually, I'm saying beautiful shiny, it's not even different. And of course you have the old trusty Dragonite. And if you want a fun option here, this is actually going to be a pretty decent dragon type attacker, but it is going to be outperformed by those other ones. Now, yet again, Darkrai cannot be traded. Going into the dark types here, this is going to be your #1 dark type attacker. I do not have the dark move for its charge move because I don't have TMs and I think Shadow Ball is better personally. But going into Pokemon you can trade, your #1 dark type attacker is going to be Hydreigon besides Darkrai. This is a tradable Pokemon. But you also have Weavile here, which is also going to be fantastic. Readily available as far as the candies are concerned. Now, when it comes down to trading Pokemon, the candies won't be cut. It's just going to be that Stardust. So you may want to invest in Pokemon that you have more candies for, personally. And then Tyranitar, always a solid option. It's not going to be as high as those other ones, but it's still going to be able to stay in the fight. Now, going over bug types here, we have in that #1 spot, Pinsir. Now it can have Fury Cutter. Well, it can be taught it with a quick move. It's Old Legacy, which is going to be its best. And then in that #2 spot for bug types, you have Scizor here, Fury Cutter, and X-Scissor, Steel and Bug type. Fantastic typing there. Weak to one thing, Fire. And then moving into the next one, we have Yanmega. I've invested in a ton of these things. They're going to be great going up against Dark types, up against Grass types, being that Bug and Flying that we'll be able to resist. And then a fun option here, a Durant. Another Steel and Bug type. Alright trainers, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be keeping you up to date on everything Pokemon Go. So this was a big surprise, seeing that the shiny Gible has now been released. It really threw me off because, well, it fell into the perfect category for a community day, and they're just releasing the shiny, therefore that means no community day. Well, good luck trying to find those. Hopefully this list helped you on Pokemon that you possibly may want to trade lucky, and I will be catching you all next time. Take care.